Well, hey, you guys. So when it comes to winning with money and building wealth, it is a journey. And a lot of us don't get there overnight. So today I'm going to talk about the 7 stages of wealth building that I consistently see people that are struggling with their money going from struggling to a lot of peace and control and ultimately building wealth. And as we go through each of these steps, you can actually see where you are in your wealth building journey. But first, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the money content that you need in your life. All right, the first stage of wealth building is really at ground level. So the very first thing you're going to do is make sure you have $1,000 in the bank. And this is your starter emergency fund. And why you want to start there is because for some people, maybe they have $1,000, but for 40% of Americans that can't cover a $400 emergency in cash, this is a great place to start. And in fact, Ramsey Solutions research found that only about half of Americans have $1,000 in savings. So 1/3 of Americans don't have any savings at all. So again, we see all these stats knowing that even for $1,000 for a lot of people is a really big win. And so you want to have that first step be attainable, and you want that first step to have a level of importance that's really crucial, because if things come up throughout the next couple of steps, you can always go back to that emergency fund, take money out if something were to happen so you don't go deeper in debt. Now, I want you to remember the key word here is starter. So these starter emergency funds, you're going to build it up later when we get to baby step 3. But for now, baby step 1 is $1,000 emergency fund. Baby step 2, you're going to start getting out of debt. So you're going to list out all of your debts, smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate, pay minimum payments on everything, and pay off that smallest debt first. And what's really powerful about this is you're, again, getting some quick wins. So that $1,000 emergency fund, that's your first check. You feel good. You're doing something. You've made a goal. You accomplished it. And then when you pay off that first smallest debt in baby step 2, it does something to your confidence. It reminds you that you can make progress with your money. Now, once that is paid off, you're going to take all the payments you're paying on that smallest debt, roll it over to the second smallest debt. And once that's paid off, you have freed up the minimum payments of the smallest debt and the second smallest debt. All of that rolls to the third smallest debt. So it just keeps compounding, and you're able to get out of debt that much faster. And when you're debt free, it's amazing because your income is all yours. Then you get to decide what to do with it. You get to decide if you want to give it, save it, spend it, invest it. You have power again, versus when you have all of these payments from, car loans and student loans and personal loans and HELOCs and all of these payments going out, your income then is working for other people and other banks and not yourself. So getting out of debt is really, really crucial. Now, Financial Peace University, FPU, is an amazing tool to help you through this process. And a lot of people on baby step 2 go through FPU because it is our 9-lesson course that helps you understand how to handle your money, and specifically how to be debt-free and how to live debt-free. Because when you don't have any consumer debt in your life, then you get to move on to baby step 3. And that is where you're going to take your starter emergency fund of $1,000 and bump it up to 3 to 6 months of expenses. And so what is great about this part is you have no payments and you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank. So when things come up, then you are able to cover so many of life's unexpected issues that are thrown at you with that fully funded emergency fund. And this can be from anything from a medical scare to a job loss. And when you get to this point, you find a lot of peace because you don't have payments and you have a lot of money saved, which is so great. Now, once that is complete, you're going to move on to baby steps 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to do these together. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about a headline that I saw recently that blew my mind. 1/3 of the U.S. population's background info is now public. So for 115 million of us, data breaches mean that our info is out there for anyone to find. And this is like our names and addresses and phone numbers and so much more. So that is why I love Delete Me, because they go in and they remove your information from hundreds of data broker websites that buy, sell, and trade your personal data. So take control of your online privacy with Delete Me. Individual Delete Me plans start as low as $9 a month. So sign up today at joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, or click the link in the description. All right, baby step 4 is funding 15% of your income into retirement. So this is going to look like Roth IRAs, 401ks, 403bs. So just take 15% of your income and you want to put it in retirement accounts. Now, what's great about these specific retirement accounts is they have tax advantages to them because things like the Roth IRA, and if you have a Roth 401k, then you are able to take money out when you get to 59 and a half years old, and the growth on that account is not taxed, which is huge, you guys. So again, when it comes to investing, remember, match beats Roth beats traditional. So if you have a 401k at work or a 403b and your employer matches, go ahead and go up to their match, then take the rest of your money over to a Roth IRA and max it out. And if you do max it out and you still have 15% of your income left, go back to your 401k or 403b and put more money in. But that 15% going to those tax advantage accounts, like retirement accounts, is so huge and so great. So when you're doing that, if you have kids, you also want to do some investing for them. So when it comes to their college and education, you want to start saving for them. So opening up a 529 account or an ESA, which is an educational savings account, are great places to start, because when you are able, if you are able at this step to help your kids go to college at any financial level, that is such a gift, because so many college students take out debt. They go through college and then they start off their financial lives in a hole that they're having to climb out of. And again, we just see this whole world of education that people just feel emotionally detached in a sense because people pick out-of-state schools or private schools and they go to expensive institutions when they don't have the money. And so they're deeper and deeper in the financial hole. So if you don't have money saved and your kids are looking to go to college anytime soon, things like a gap year is great to save up and cash flow their college after that. Even them going to a community college for a year or two. So there's ways to still get an education and be wise about it. But if you have young kids, again, being able to save for their college early on is really huge. And these are investments, so that means that they are going to grow over time, which again is a great place to put your money. Now, after you do that, so you have 15% of your income going to retirement. If you have kids, you put a little bit in some college funds. If you have any extra margin, then we recommend throwing it at your mortgage. So getting your house paid off is baby step 6. And this is the big one. Okay. This takes on average, people that are doing this plan, on average 9 years. Now, the average American has a monthly mortgage of almost $1,775. So if you could imagine that being freed up, which is usually the most expensive line item in people's budget is their housing, whether it's rent or a mortgage. It's incredible to think that you could take that money and give it, invest it, spend it. I mean, it frees up so much, and you just own your house free and clear. And when you don't have debts and you don't have a bank telling you what to do with your income, again, you have more options and you have more freedom. But like we said at the beginning of this is a journey. Okay. It takes a while. And again, on average, just that one step is 9 years. So you want to enjoy your life during this time, but any extra money you can throw at your mortgage is incredible. Even if you throw an extra payment a year, you can pay your house off 4 years earlier. So if you were on a 30-year mortgage, then you pay it off in 26 years, right? I mean, and if you think about it, you keep making those kind of extra payments and you get it down so quickly, which is what we want for you. And then once your house is paid off, then you move on to baby step 7. And that is where you build wealth and continue to be extremely generous. So this is a process and a system to put into place. But again, I love this idea because there are steps, there are guidelines, and you can actually follow something tactically when it comes to your money. Because if you want to reach your goals, having a system in place that helps you do that is really, really important. Okay, so as we've laid out all these steps, it's good for you to pinpoint kind of where you're at and maybe what the next step for you can be. Because again, forward progress is always important when it comes to your money. And this allows you to focus on one goal at a time, which again, I love because I want you to see progress with your money. So if you want to get started with this, one of the best things that you can do in all of these steps is to budget. That's because budgeting is going to help you tell your money what to do. So these steps are important, but the budget is the tactical tool that you're going to use every single month to actually get the extra income to throw at the debt. It's actually going to show you, hey, here's margin here. So you're going to use that to fund your baby step 1, maybe for that $1,000. So whatever it looks like, budgeting is so, so crucial. So I'll put a link to our Every Dollar budget down below so you can check that out. And if you're new to budgeting, or you want to see how I do it myself, then make sure to watch the next video where I show you how I would budget a $7,000 income per month. Or click the link in the show notes if you are listening on podcast. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So one of the toughest but truest lessons in life is that when something seems too sum of money for something that you don't have enough cash to purchase puts you in debt and at risk for months or even years down the road. But sadly, debt has been so normalized in our culture that it's not uncommon for people to live most of their lives paying off car loans and credit card minimum payments and student loans every single month. So let's say the idea of debt doesn't scare you and you're not opposed to low interest financing. So how does 0% APR actually work? Well, typically, when you take out a loan on a car, you have to pay back the amount that you borrowed plus interest for however long it takes you to pay off that debt. With zero interest loans, you only have to pay back the original amount on the car. But that doesn't always necessarily mean that you're saving money. Car dealerships offer this as a way to drive up sales on slow-selling models or to clear out less popular inventory and make room for new inventory. And since they're not making money off of you when it comes to interest, they typically will drive up the overall out-the-door price. So instead of saving money, you are paying for a higher price of the car that they're just trying to get rid of. And instead of being financed through a bank or a credit union, zero-interest car loans are set up through the vehicle manufacturer itself, which means you get zero say in the terms of the loan, which actually can be a little strict and even sneaky at times. So if you slip up on just one monthly payment, you'll get hit with a new extremely high interest rate plus other fees and penalties that you never saw coming. And if this is starting to sound a little not too good to be true, you're exactly right. And to sum it up, there are 4 reasons not to fall for 0% interest trick. But first, I want to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable. And that is Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs. And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, choose the healthcare provider you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. And with no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. So find out more at chministries.org/budget. All right, back to the 4 reasons. You ready? Higher price up front. Number 2, expensive extras that you're more likely to fall for an impulse buy. Number 3, strict repayment terms that leave no margin for error. And number 4, risk of interest rate changing or increasing over time. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, well, if it's 0% APR loans, if they're a bad idea, how am I supposed to afford a car or a couch that I need? Well, before we get into that horror story that I mentioned earlier, it's time for a reality check and a little bit of a pep talk from your good old friend, Rachel. Yep. My answer may sound oversimplified, but trust me, it is the best when it comes to your money. Instead of relying on debt to fund every aspect of your life and constantly trying to screwed one of you guys over recently. Somebody told me the story through social media that I will never forget because this is the perfect example of how 0% interest deals will come back and get you. So this lady on Instagram, she messaged me and was talking about how they had a Home Depot credit card that they forgot about. And then when they went and pulled their credit, they saw it. And it was, at the time, I think, a 0% interest whole scam thing. And now they had to pay interest at 30%. The rate was 30% interest, you guys. So she was like, never again, never again. So repeat after me, you guys. Simple over sneaky. If it seems too good to be true, it's probably because it is. But I also know that it can seem daunting to save up cash for a big purchase, right? Like a car. And so, listen, if you're looking for more margin, one of the best things you can do is budget for your money. Have a plan for your money and tell your income where to go. And that way you can actually take some things maybe out of your expenses throughout the month to be able to save for things like a car. So go to everydollar.com/Rachel and create a budget completely free today, mapping all of this out in real time to really see what you're working with. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out my episode on 5 cars you should never waste your money on. And you'll have to check that one out next. So, as always, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So there are countless stories about celebrities or anyone who comes into money quickly about squandering their wealth, right? And they're having to start over from scratch. And we see those train wrecks at times, but then also we do see some people that actually do really well with their money as celebrities. You know, these public figures, though, when it comes to personal finance, it's very fascinating lessons that we can learn from them. So today I'm going to react to a few lessons from your favorite and my favorite celebrities. And stay tuned till the end because I'll share my number 1 tip for building wealth, regardless if you're a celebrity or not. And before we get started, make sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend who loves pop culture. All right, first up, let's start with LeBron James. So his net worth, are you ready for this? $1.2 billion. But what he's done with his money is pretty incredible. He founded a school, he has started multiple businesses, and he's signed a lifetime Nike contract. And he said his first money lesson that he learned was very important, and that was the lesson of saving money. His uncle would give him $1 and tell him to save 65 cents of it. And he still owes his wealth to learning that habit early on when it comes to saving. I mean, well done, LeBron. Well done. Next up, it's our girl, Kylie Jenner. So her net worth is $700 million. And she was born, into a very well-to-do family, the Jenners. But then she really created this fortune on her own. She used social media, thank you, free marketing, to launch Kylie Cosmetics in 2014 when she was only 17 years old. And a few years later, she sold a 51% stake for $600 million. And one lesson from Kylie is that, you can use influence, you can use networking, and if you have a skill or an expertise in a certain area, lean into that, right? Now, her celebrity factor obviously helped her in this too, but she loved makeup and cosmetics, and look at that girl go. I mean, unbelievable. All right, before I reveal the rest of this list, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. I saw a headline recently that really caught my attention, that 1/3 of the U.S. population's background info is now public. So for 115 million of us, data breaches mean that our info is just out there for anyone to find. And this is stuff like our names and addresses and phone numbers. This is why I love and use Delete Me, because they find and remove your information from hundreds of data broker websites that buy, sell, and trade your personal data. So take control of your online privacy with Delete Me. Individual Delete Me plans start as low as $9 a month. So sign up today at joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, or click the link in the description. All right, our third piece of celebrity money advice comes from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I love him. His net worth is $800 million. And The Rock started, that familiar name, with wrestling, right? He was in the wrestling world for years. And then he started saying yes to other opportunities like brand deals, kids' movies, the United Football League, hosting gigs, and all of that. So he stays really busy, and he says the secret to his success is consistency. So you don't have to be great at everything that you try, but the idea is that you consistently show up and try new things. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, love that guy. Number 4 is more of a lesson rather than a tip, but it comes from the one and only Mariah Carey. So sources say that she's technically worth around $350 million, but it's also been reported that Mariah mortgaged her apartment to get some extra cash. A recent report found that Mariah Carey has more than $18.5 million in debt because of taking out loans against her $30 million home in New York City. So this is a lesson that we can say we don't want to do, right? And people will do this. They will pull equity out of their home, take on a second mortgage, or get a HELOC. But taking and borrowing money against your home is not a great idea, because number one, you're taking on more debt. You're taking the equity that was building and actually advancing your net worth and using that money for other things. And so it's just not a wise thing to do. So Mariah, pay off your debt, girl. Pay off that debt. All right, number 5 is Keanu Reeves. His net worth is $380 million, and he owns a production company and co-founded Arch Motorcycles. So he lives a pretty modest lifestyle compared to some of his peers, and he really values his health and wellness over maintaining a lavish lifestyle. So I think he's a great one to say, yeah, the lesson here is to live within your means. Easy to do when you have that much money, I'm sure. And also I like that he prioritizes other things in life versus just this fancy lifestyle. Number 6 is the one and only Oprah Winfrey, and her net worth is $2.6 billion. And the Oprah Winfrey Charitable Foundation has donated over $400 million. You guys, I mean, unbelievable. She is a very generous person. And we see this all the time with her giving away scholarships and, doing things internationally all over. And then another great thing, one of the things I loved growing up was her episode on Oprah's Favorite Things. And she would invite people into her studio audience with them not knowing that this was the specific episode. And she would give away crazy amounts of money, right? Through gifts and different things. Like that one year she did a car. Everyone gets a car. You get a car. You get a car. But generosity is a priority for her. And I think she really believes that and lives that out. And I think it's important to see. And it's a great example. Now, of course, we are not at this level of fame and fortune as these celebrities, but there is one tip that I think is really important when it comes to building wealth over time, regardless of you're a celebrity or not. It's this idea of being proactive with your money. So when you have your income come in, and choosing to be very, very intentional with it is so key. And what that is really is a monthly budget. And EveryDollar is a great budgeting app. You can check it out because it gives this power to saying, okay, yes, this is the money I have coming in, and what do I want to do with it? Because we all want to build wealth, right? I mean, there's something about having margin, changing your family tree, being able to be generous with others that is so, so key. There's a peace of mind there that's so important. And if you want to check out EveryDollar, I'll put a link down in the description. Now, to check your personal financial progress, check out my episode, How Do You Compare Financially to the Average American? You can click right there. Or if you're listening on podcast, I will put a link in the description. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. When it comes to money, lots of people feel like they have a general understanding of the basics, but there are some subtle, small daily habits that could be costing you thousands of dollars. So here are 7 financial habits that you might be neglecting. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, financial habit number 1, juggling minimum payments. So just because you can maintain or pay the minimum payment doesn't mean you should, okay? And what I mean by this is people feel like if I can afford the payment, then I can afford the item. And it's not true, because over the course of time, you guys, if you add on so much debt to your life and you're just paying the minimum payments, you're not, number one, getting ahead, but you're paying interest, sometimes even fees if you're late, like all the things happen. So getting out of debt and freeing up those minimum payments and having no debt in your life is going to make your income go so much further. Now, I would say as you're getting out of debt, which I tell people to list their debt smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate, then you're going to pay minimum payments on everything while you pay off the smallest debt first. So that makes sense. But over time, those minimum payments and living that life, it's going to slowly drain your budget. All right, number 2, having tons of savings, but also tons of debt. So we talk to people all the time on the Ramsey Show, and they call in and they're like, oh yeah, we have $14,000 in savings, but we have $23,000 in debt. And we're like, what? Like, throw that savings and get rid of your debt, because your debt you are paying interest on. And yes, could you be making interest on the money that's saved, maybe in a high yield savings account? Yes, but it's usually way lower of an interest that you're gaining in that way, making versus what you're paying out. And the level of risk is huge, because some people feel like that having a lot of savings and a lot of debt, they're okay because it kind of cancels each other out. But the truth is, if something happens and you lose your job or whatever, and that savings dwindles, then you're going to have the risk of all of this debt and all of these bills that have to be paid every month. So getting to a point where you can erase the debt and then be able to build up your savings, that's the way to go. Number 3, taking on a mortgage payment before you're ready. Oh, this is so hard, because a house is something that it's a big step for people, and they really want it. For a lot of people, like, I want to own a home, which I totally get, and I'm 100% for. I think owning a home needs to be part of your entire financial picture and your game plan long term. But people rush into it. And what happens is it not only adds stress, but you realize how expensive it is to be a homeowner. Like when things break and you have to take care of things and upkeep and all of it, it's all on you. And if you don't have a place where you are financially, like if you're not in a good place with your money, it's going to cause so much stress and more of a burden than a blessing. So I want you to be debt free. I want you to have a fully funded emergency fund. And then I want you to have a good down payment. If you're a first-time home buyer, 5% is fine. But if you get up to 20%, which would be amazing, you can avoid PMI, which means you're not paying out as much in insurance, which is wonderful. But all of these things I think are really crucial to have a solid foundation for you as you become a homeowner. Otherwise, it just becomes honestly kind of like a barrel of fish hooks where you just are leaking money everywhere, because owning a home is expensive. And if you don't have the money for it, it's going to stress you out. All right, number 4, not staying on top of your insurance plan. So here's the deal. Insurance is one of these things that either you may not have enough and that's going to cost you, or maybe you have too much, or maybe you bought it and you never went and reevaluated like where you're at in life. So here's the deal. You could be overpaying when it comes to insurance. And we find that this is really common. And you could be paying and overpaying like hundreds of dollars a month. Like it's pretty wild, because there's packages and bundles and all of it. There's an efficient way to have the insurance that you need at a good rate. And so if you want to relook at all of this, make sure to check out Ramsey Trusted, because there's a Ramsey Trusted agent near you that can actually go in and look at all of your insurance and make sure that you are exactly where you need to be from a coverage perspective, but also what you're paying. So if you want to check it out, you can go to ramseysolutions.com/insurance, or I'll put a link down below if you want to get connected. So it's scary how common this next one is, But first, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Fairwinds Credit Union. The holiday season should be about peace and not payments. And that is a big reason why I love Fairwinds Credit Union, because they help you reach your money goals without debts. With Fairwinds Smart Bundle, there is a no-fee checking account, high-yield savings to grow your emergency fund, and the exclusive Ramsey Be Weird debit card. I have mine. It's my favorite to put out. Like if we're out to eat, you throw it on. It's great. It's so great. So every time you swipe and you pull out that card, it is a reminder that you are doing your money differently. So go to fairwinds.org/Ramsey today to open up a smart bundle and grab your exclusive Ramsey Be Weird debit card. That's fairwinds.org/Ramsey. All right, another company that's doing amazing things on your behalf is Delete Me, because those holiday promos can be great, but with every newsletter sign up or coupon code that you fill out, you're giving your data away. And that personal info can easily end up on data broker websites, and that can add to the scammers and the spammers that are out there, and you don't want your info out there like that. So I recommend Delete Me. The Delete Me privacy team digs through hundreds of data broker sites to remove your data and keep it gone, which means fewer spammy texts and robocalls. So right now you can get 20% off at joindeleteme.com/Rachel with code Rachel at checkout. So do it today. That's joindeleteme.com/Rachel, code Rachel. All right, number 5 is a big mistake, not having a will. So regardless of your net worth, whether you own a home or not, everyone needs a will. Like you have something to your name and you need to be able to say what you want that money or those assets to be done. I was gonna say in case of your death, but we all die. So I guess when you die. Now, obviously, the more things you have, the more things you own, the more people in your life that you're responsible for, then it is much more important. I mean, honestly, having a will is so necessary. It's not fun. You can actually do one at mamabearlegalforms.com, and it's a state-specific will, but please do this because when you do it, it frees up, again, for your loved ones of what to do, the direction of what they need to do at your death, but also it puts the government not in the center of all of it because there's so much that can be involved, and we don't want them making decisions about your stuff. You want to take care of that for your loved ones. All right, habit number 6 is keeping a car payment in the budget. So we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but this idea if I can afford the payment, I can afford the item. And people do this all the time with cars. The average new car payment is over $700 a month, you guys. So if you think about that, if there's 2 new cars and you're getting on average $700 payments, that's $1,400 going to a car that's going down in value. It's one of the worst financial moves people can make. And people do it a lot, obviously out of necessity. Like I understand you need a car. Most people in America that they use it as a form of transportation, but making sure that you are driving a car that you can afford. Even if it's a $5,000 car and it's a crappy car, at least it's getting you from point A to point B and you can save up on the side, sell that, and then move up in car. But this idea of going and just, taking a loan out, because what happens is over, the next 5 years, even if you pay it off, once it's paid off, then it's like, okay, it's time for a new car. And you just go back into the payment cycle. And so don't do that because it is costing you so much money. Because if you actually invested that money from age 18 to age 60, an average car payment, it's millions of dollars, you guys. It's crazy. So get rid of the car payments. Don't do car payments. Number 7. The last one, and a very important one, is sitting out of the stock market. So we get calls a lot on the Ramsey Show of a lot of fear of people being like, okay, I'm scared to get in because I don't know what's going to happen. So this is an area, you guys, you have to educate yourself because when you actually look at the stats, you actually look at the numbers, you look at the track record of if you put money into the market and it's money that you have that you don't, you have an emergency fund and then I tell you to invest. So it's money that's out there for long-term gain. You're going to make so much money. You really are, from the interest rates and also the compound growth beyond that. And so don't just have your money sitting in a high yield savings account doing nothing. Have money in the market. And how to do that really is with retirement. So after you have paid off debt and you have a fully funded emergency fund, invest 15% of your income into retirement. And so that's your 401k, Roth IRAs. And within those accounts is where you're investing in good mutual funds or index funds. to be able to get that growth. So sitting out of the market is a big mistake. So when the time is right for you financially, get in. Now, if you need to actually understand some of your numbers, because it can be kind of confusing, I would say to use Ramsey's investment calculator, because you can plug in some numbers and it's really fascinating. So if you did this and you said, okay, I'm going to start at age 35, and if you took $600, which again is like basically a car payment for most people, and you invested it over time till you're 65 years old, again, it comes out to $1.3 million. And that's at 35. What if you did this at 25? I mean, it's crazy. So you're missing out if you are not investing. So remember, when you get out of debt, you stop paying interest. And when you start investing your own money, you're earning interest. And that's what we want. All right, small habits, you guys. These are small tweaks going along your financial journey, but it is so crucial to start with these small habits. Now, make sure to check out my episode, Why Being Boring is the Best Way to Build Wealth. You can click right here to check it out. Or if you're listening on podcasts, I'll put a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys, so there's a video going around the internet right now that's all about what to do after you save your first $1,000. Well, that immediately grabbed my attention for two reasons. First of all, because people typically disagree with me when I say that $1,000 is a really good savings goal where you should start. And again, I was surprised that somebody else was using that $1,000 number. So I thought, well, that's great. And second is because I wanted to see if I agreed with his advice. So today I'm going to be reacting to the 5 things that this creator said to do after you hit your $1,000 savings goal. Plus, I'll be sharing my personal savings philosophy so that you can make sure that you are right on track. So stick around to the end so you can hear my number 1 tip to actually making saving money fun, because it can be fun, you guys. All right, the first thing that this creator says to do after you've saved your first $1,000 is to invest money in your education, specifically books. So he says if you want an MBA level education without paying for an MBA, you should read 25 books about business and money topics. First, read 5 books on money management and investing. Then read 5 books on how to start a business. Next, read 5 books on how to scale a business. Then read 5 books on how to manage people in business. And finally, read 5 books either about or by your favorite entrepreneurs. And he even gives a shout out to the Total Money Makeover when recommending his top 3 favorite personal finance books. So, love that. Okay, so here's my thoughts. I was like, okay, what does this look like for somebody, right? The average person, I think one of the things that we say a lot is investing in yourself and actually understanding how this stuff works. The knowledge part of all of this is really important. But overall, personal finance, it's 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So the head knowledge, yes, is important. You have to know what to do, but your behavior through it is even more important. But I'm all about reading books. Now, I usually read fiction books about like murders and all that kind of stuff, which is what I love. But the nonfiction books and learning about this stuff, I think is really great. And we do find that a lot of people, leaders, people that are winning out in life, they are readers. They really do. They retain this information. And there's so many great thought leaders out there, you guys, in these spaces that are so smart. They're so wise. So you're getting, like he said, an MBA degree, which I think is a really great term to use to compare, because in a way, when you're out in the real world, it's huge. Now, does everybody want to start their own business? Is everyone wanting to do that? No. So that's where I probably would disagree in a sense, where I'm like, you don't have to go start your own business to win with money long term. Now, if you do have that in you and you want to be an entrepreneur and you're like, oh yeah, I kind of want to start something and do something big and I have dreams and I have goals, then you're maybe bent that way, which is awesome and great. So go for it. I mean, learn and grow it, and that's great. But some people, that's not their gifting. And so that's okay if that's not you. But I do like the idea of reading and learning new things in this world when it comes to money, finance, business. I think it's really smart. So part of me is like, yeah, that's great. But when it comes to like actual education, like if you're looking ahead to say, hey, if I do want to save for education, look to see the ROI on yours. I talked to a lot of people on the Ramsey Show, and they call in and they went to go get an MBA or get a master's, but then their income is the same as if they didn't, and it doesn't really matter, right? So really focus in if you are looking for actual higher education to see the ROI. And then we do want to save for our kids' college. That'll be later on past paying off debt and emergency fund, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But it's not that I don't agree at all with his, philosophy. I kind of like it. It's great. But also know your behavior is a big part of it. It's not just the head knowledge. All right, the second thing that he recommends doing after you saved your $1,000 is to upgrade your goals and think bigger. So whatever your next financial goal is, he says go one step further. So you should start to consider that achieving greater goals is possible and that you can increase your chances of achieving those things if you actually start to believe it. Now, on the other hand, if you stop dreaming at whatever level, your friends are at or your family is and like the potential that they've reached, if you just kind of say that that's your baseline, you may be limiting your potential. I would agree with that. I think it's great. And I think for a lot of what we teach here about getting out of debt and having an emergency fund in place, for a lot of people, those are big goals. Those feel unreachable for a lot. So I would say, constantly be thinking through, hey, what are my dreams? What are my goals? Because some of those is the fuel behind how the reality of your money actually plays out. And that's why I love the baby steps. Because, if paying off debt feels insane for you, it feels like, oh my gosh, this is impossible, then look at other people who have done it. That's why I love us even being on YouTube, is that you can go through these debt-free screens and you can actually say, okay, other people have done this. So you know that it's not impossible. Because if everyone around you hasn't done that, you may start to think it is impossible, but it's actually not. So those big goals, find people that have done it. So yeah, I love his advice on that. I think that's great. All right, the third thing that he suggests is to level up your investment game. He says money has 3 functions. It can be spent, saved, or invested. And he says wealthy people earn money to invest it rather than squandering it all on unnecessary spending that make you appear rich without actually ever building wealth. So living below your means, it's a discipline that allows you to create margin and invest your money long term. Now, I love this. I completely agree. This is, I'm not against buying stuff and enjoying your life by any means, but there is this long-term perspective that a lot of wealthy people have, and they take their income and actually let it work for them and invest it and actually have their money be making money while they sleep, right? In that sense. And I think that's really important. And so when he says that, I think it's great. I think I would do a couple of things after your $1,000 before investing. We'll talk about that. But overall, it's just this different mindset shift that you care more about, hey, how can I get to this place of my money making money, right? And investing versus feeling like, oh, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and in this rat race of just trying to keep up with everyone else. So I love that. Okay, before I share the rest of this list, I want to tell you about something that I have been loving lately, especially since summertime is officially here. Now that school is out, there is a good chance that your kids will have more screen time. It happens, you guys. But listen, keeping your kids safe while they're on those screens, well, that is so stressful for us parents. So let me tell you about a great way to give yourself some peace of mind. True Play Games. With True Play, you don't have to worry about what might pop up on their screens. True Play is one app with a bunch of entertaining games and videos and so much more designed to help your kids build character and grow in their faith. There are no chat rooms, no ads, no in-app purchases. True Play turns screen time into stress-free time for mom and dad. So go to trueplaygames.com/Rachel now and get 20% off an annual subscription with the promo code Rachel20. All right, the fourth thing that he recommends is to use money to buy back your time. He points out that in order to grow your money and build wealth, you have to have money in the first place. So in order to bring in more money, you need to make your time worth something. So cancel things that are eating up your time, like Netflix and binging stuff, and instead use it to earn more money with that time so that it's not wasted. And if you do this for 6 months, then you're going to be able to see something on the other side of that, which is just incredible. Okay. Yeah. I get that. I think that that's great. And especially if there's these goals that you're wanting to hit, whether it's getting out of debt, getting an emergency fund in place. We talk about that a lot, is getting a side hustle, getting some extra income in. I do think that it's realistic though, for some people, depending on your season of life, or where you are financially, be like, okay, I kind of just want a breather. I don't want to be working, 80 hours a week. But some people are in a season of sacrifice. And so that idea of taking that free time and actually putting it towards making money, especially if you're trying to hit these goals, I think it's great. All right, the fifth thing he says to do after you saved $1,000 is to upgrade your cash flow. He talks about making the switch from traditional investment methods that earn money over time, like retirement accounts, to more instant investment strategies that earn you cash quicker. He says that some of his investments are in real estate, some are in stocks, some are in businesses that he owns. And regardless, he recommends taking whatever cash is earned from those investments and investing it back into something that will grow your money's value rather than spending it on material things. I think that this is more of a complex way of looking at this, but I do agree with him. I think even diversifying outside of your retirement accounts, like he says, I think good mutual funds, I wouldn't do single stock investing, and investing in other businesses, I think is smart. I think you'd have to have a lot of margin to be able to do that. And depending on where you are financially, that may not be an option for you, but I get what he's saying. And, when we talk about real estate investing, that's it. You take the rents that you get from a paid for property and over time, build that up to go and buy another property, right? So you actually are using your money to go and grow your assets and grow your net worth, essentially. But I'm such a spender too, y'all. So there's a part of me that's like, if you're at that point and you're out of debt and an emergency fund and retirement's taken care of, there is a part of you live like no one else. So later you can live and give like no one else. So there is some fun in this and enjoy life too. That's what I would say. All right, now for my personal savings philosophy. There are definitely aspects of his strategy, again, that I agree with. And also some things that, they could be a little bit more nuanced and how we agree on it. But overall, here's a short and simple version of what I recommend after you save $1,000. Once that's done, then all your other money, any other savings that you have that's not retirement, any extra money that you have, I want you to throw it towards your debt. Now, that may be taking your lifestyle and cutting it, that may be earning extra money, whatever it is, I want you to pay off your debt, smallest to largest. And then once all that is paid off, but your house, then upgrade that $1,000 emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank. This can be in a high yield savings account, a money market account. But the idea here is that you have no payments and you have a fully funded emergency fund. And then you can start investing. So invest 15% of your income into retirement, kind of the boring things that he was talking about earlier, but your 401k, your Roth, all of that. You won't see that money until you're 59 and a half or whenever you retire. But again, the idea that you're saving for the future. And then save for kids' college. We talked about that earlier. And then any extra money you have, throw it at the house. And once your house is paid off, that frees up a mortgage payment, which is amazing. So then you're able to invest more. All right, here's my number one tip, though, when it comes to making savings fun. That is sinking funds. Okay, sinking funds, this is where you save a little bit of money every single month so that when the time comes for when you need the money for the big purchase or the experience, whatever you're saving for, the money's all there. So if you're needing to replace your car, let's say you set up a sinking fund, maybe you start saving $50, $100 in your paycheck, a little bit on the side. So, in 3 to 5 years from now, you're looking to be like, oh my gosh, I have $3,000, $6,000, $12,000 that I can put towards a new car, which is awesome. So when it gets to that point, you have the money and it makes car shopping that much more fun. Or maybe it's a trip to Europe. Maybe you save $150 per month between now and next summer. Then you saved almost $2,000, which is great. So again, when you are saving for things, that's the fun of it, is to know that you're going to actually have the money when the time comes, and you're saving for fun things. So that's important too. So money, it is a powerful tool to help you build a life that brings joy and brings financial peace. And I know that this doesn't sound glamorous all the time, but it really is those small things that you do today to set you up for the future that you want. Now, for some of you, reading 25 books, like our friend suggested, might sound exciting, but some of you would, like to take a crash course when it comes to your personal finance. So if that's you, I highly recommend Financial Peace University. This is our 9-lesson money course that literally teaches everything that you need to know when it comes to money and building wealth. So make sure to check out the link below. And if you're looking for ways to save $1,000 fast, check out my episode on 25 ways to do just that. So remember, you guys, to take control of your money and create a life you love. Budgeting was the one part of personal finance that took me, I feel like, more effort to get on board with, because I'm a natural spender, I'm a free spirit, and budgeting was always just like But it's been, a good 14 years, and I have been budgeting consistently. When Winston and I got married, at first we didn't budget, even though I know I should. I grew up knowing you should, but we just didn't. And then about a year in, it was like, okay, we need to start budgeting. And ever since then, I'm not gonna say we were perfect at it, but pretty much have done it every single month. Like, it's just been part of our rhythm. And so recently I decided to introduce a little drama to my life, and I didn't look at the budget for 2 weeks. Now, some of you are like, Rachel, it's not that big of a deal, but it is for me. And it was fascinating what happened. So Listen, we're going to talk about that in a second, but make sure to like, subscribe to this channel, and share this video with a friend. All right, so something that happened. One of the first things was I overspent on food. Yep, when I was not thinking about the money and I was just trying to live without a budget, I'm like, I'm going to just live my life, do what I want. Of course, our grocery category ended up going like crazy high. I was like, I didn't realize it. And I did Instacart a couple of things, which I usually don't. But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to just do it because it's convenient. And I'm not going to think about the money I'm spending on it. I'm just going to do it. By the end of it all, we had overspent and blown our food category, which we do sometimes when we stick with the budget, but it's not usually that bad. Number 2, my stress level skyrocketed. So I used to be stressed about budgeting back in the day. And now I found myself stressed without a budget because I was thinking like, this is probably too much. Or like, can I do this? Or like, there was a couple of things I wanted to buy for a trip that was coming up. And I was like, I think I have it. And then I think we have the money for it. Like, I know we do, but is this in the constraint of what I would normally? I don't know. I just was so off track and I just found myself more stressed about our money. And I didn't like that at all. There was not a lot of peace. Also, I underspent out of fear in other areas. So I was paranoid about losing control in certain areas. So food, not as much, obviously, because we overspent. But things like my shopping, I normally have a certain amount of money and I enjoy it. So I will spend within that. But when I didn't know what I had in that category, what was left, so I found myself just like, okay, I'm just not going to spend it. And again, that can be good because I feel like I did probably save some money because of that. But there also wasn't like this freedom and this permission to enjoy my money because that's all about this, you guys. You live like no one else. So later you get to live and give like no one else. But I found myself, again, underspending because of that fear. Now, speaking of fear and scarcity, one area of your life that doesn't have to have either of those things is healthcare. And that's because Christian Healthcare Ministries is incredible. So when you lose your employer-sponsored health insurance, there may be a better option than COBRA. So consider Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is an affordable, biblically based alternative to health insurance that could be a third of the price of COBRA. Yes, CHM programs start as low as $98 a month, and CHM has helped hundreds of thousands of families take care of over $11 billion in medical bills since 1981. CHM members are also supported spiritually with prayer when they have a medical event. So try getting that support with COBRA, because you won't. Now, whether you're going through a job loss, a life change, or you just want to consider other options to save on healthcare costs, check out CHM. So learn more at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget. Number 4 is I realized how much of a habit I have looking at my EveryDollar app. So I'm not kidding. Do you ever like open your phone and you're like, how did I get here? Like for me, it's Instagram a lot of times. I'm like, I'm just going through Instagram and I don't even remember unlocking my phone. I don't even remember clicking into the app. Like it just happens. It's crazy. And I found myself opening EveryDollar during this experiment the same way. I would be like looking and I'm like, oh, wait, don't look. You're not supposed to be budgeting right now. But I found that I do have a habit. Like it sounds so nerdy, but it's true because I open that app almost every day to track transactions and to look at our money. And as we're planning things, like it is a part of my rhythm. And when you take that and remove it, I realized, oh my God, I'm addicted to Instagram and EveryDollar. And that is my life. So, because it's a good thing. But also I was like, get out of it, Rachel. What are you doing? Okay. And lastly, I did find it hard to jump back in and get back on track. So when I did, not try to look and not do anything with my money for 2 weeks. And then I was like, okay, the 2 weeks is up. I'm going to get back in. There were so many transactions that I hadn't tracked. Again, I was not organized. I didn't feel like things were matching up the way that I wanted them to. And I just found like this, like, it just was a heavier boulder, if you will, to like push up the mountain versus when it's in your rhythm. And so that's one of the most important things I realized is when a budget becomes part of your rhythm, you don't think about it. It doesn't take a ton of effort because it's just part of how you do things. You're tracking transactions, you're looking, if something comes up, then, you're putting another category in. So you're adjusting other stuff, but it just takes a few minutes. But when you don't do it for a long time, it does take more effort to get back in, which is, not always fun. So again, overspending on groceries is something that is so common, whether you are budgeting or you're not. At least budgeting helps you stay on track. But if you still struggle with it, be sure to check out my episode, How to Survive Grocery Shopping in 2025 for money saving tips. You can click here, or if you're listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.